by Blerdography.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Mark, and I'm backing you on another special episode of the Blerdkast. This one's going to be on YouTube because I feel like I have a lot to say, and I feel like my guests have a lot to say about this particular subject matter. But everyone, go ahead and introduce yourself. Why don't you go ahead first, JB?
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JB back on another episode of Blerdkast. You know where to find me. JB versus the World on YouTube, Twitter, all that jazz. Central Hub at jbversustheworld.com. You already know what it is.
All right. What about you, Michael? Or you go ahead.
Hey, my name is Michael Collins. I am a co-host and theory prognosticator for the Fandom Hybrid podcast. You can find us on Anchor, Stitcher, like everywhere, and even YouTube. Been in this for like 2 years. And yeah, it's good to be here, man.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, Myra.
What's up?
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Howdy, Myron here, better known as Atlanta sports fan since '92.
All right, cool. So again, with the special end of the era here in Atlanta, I figured it would be good to bring some fellow sports nerds on and just talk about the significance of this trade. For everyone who don't know, if you're not an Atlanta Falcons fan, our beloved, I don't want to say beloved, that's weird, Matty Ice, number 2, drafted in 2008, was just traded yesterday to Indianapolis for a 3rd-round draft pick. I'm going to get into that part later. But I figured, let me bring some people on and let's just talk about it and geek out about it. If you're not following me on Anchor and Spotify, you wouldn't know that I did a bonus episode a while back talking about sports. Me and JB did it, actually. And just how you geek out, how you can be a geek to sports and still be a geek and all that. So this is why I want to do this little special episode. And I just want to go around the room. I'm assuming we're all Falcons fans here, so I don't think we all have to say what our favorite team is. But what's your next favorite team? What's below the Falcons for each of y'all?
Who going
JB.
Oh, nobody. ATL till I die. That's it.
That's the answer I expected to hear from you. What about you?
Is there another Falcons team? No, then I ain't got one.
All right, and Myron, I'm assuming you got the same answer as the rest of us.
Yeah, goes without saying.
All right, so let me ask each of you this, and I want to start with JB. We'll keep that same order going around. What is your favorite Falcons era?
My favorite Falcon era, I mean, it has to be this most recent one with Matt Ryan and Dan Quinn and that team that went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. They were just special. That group was special. Lightning struck for us. The timing hit right. The momentum hit right. We had the right things cooking with Vic Beasley on the pass rush, and even when Desmond Trufant went down, Jalen Collins came in and did his thing. We had the young guys on defense with Keanu Neal and Brian Poole-Sarias and Deion Jones and Grady Jarrett came out like that year. Offense, we had Taylor Gabriel and Mohamed Sanu, and yeah, that was a special era, especially with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman in the backfield. Everything was clicking, and we'll never see that again for us. Not like that. I mean, I'm sure we'll get it back one day, but that was special.
Yeah,
agreed.
For me, I'm actually old enough to remember when we drafted Deion Sanders, and that's like one of the first times that our city and our team actually was on, like our name was on everybody's tongue. Like everybody was talking about us because like Deion is quite arguably one of the most, if not the most exciting athletes ever in the NFL, period. And we had him first, and he made his name. He made his name with us. And that whole team, like, even though we weren't as successful as we probably could have or should have been, that whole team with him, Andre Rison and Jesse Tuggle, and like that whole squad was just exciting. I mean, that's the first time that the Falcons were actually exciting to watch. Like you actually wanted to tune in and see if Deion was going to take an interception back to the house, or if he was going to run a punt back to the house, or if, like, I mean, you just really wanted to see him. And that's like the start of everything coming forward, like from 89 on, that really got people into it. So that's probably my favorite era, like the 4 years that Dion was here.
So I kind of skipped the segment, but what has everybody been geeking out to? Like, we're all black nerds here. We're all Falcons fans. What's everyone recently been playing or watching or reading or,
WrestleMania is next week as of this recording. So been getting ready for that. I'm doing a crossover podcast with the No Intro show like we did last year. Going to cover WrestleMania's nights 1 and 2 and NXT Stand and Deliver. And we're also going to talk about WWE 2K. I've been on that pretty heavy lately. An excuse to use my PS5 finally. And I started watching Ranking of Kings. And oh my God, it is so good.
Ranking of Kings?
Good. Yes.
Okay.
My boy Boji must be protected at all costs. That is the most precious anime character I've ever seen. Ever.
Okay.
It's not even close.
Nice. I've been boning up on Moon Knight because that's coming out next week, and I can't wait for that shit to come out. Like that and Morbius coming out next week too. Like, because like our podcast really focuses on Marvel, but I'm really heavy into Marvel. So I've been like really like doing my research on Moon Knight just so I could like enjoy that series more. I hate that it's just 6 shows, but I'm really getting ready to get like knee deep in that. I can't wait for it to come back.
Okay. So what did I recently watch? It's a lot of stuff that's been coming out. The Adam Project on Netflix, that was really good.
That was pretty dope, yeah.
What was it? The Boys Diabolical, that little short cartoon series, that was ridiculous. I'm gonna have to do a whole separate episode just about that because that was like so crazy. And see, Vox Machina is really good. And it's a bunch of stuff on HBO Max that I haven't gotten around to. Like I know DC has some new stuff coming out. And you mentioned Morbius. I'm not excited about it. I'm not interested in trying to go see it, but I guess we'll see.
Is it because of Leto? Like, cause I think people are like, anytime people see Jared Leto in something, they're kind of like, they're like really hesitant to watch it.
Part of it is Leto, and the other part is just Morbius just never fascinated me as a Marvel fan. Like he was just there.
Okay.
I
get that.
For me, I'm not excited. It's not nothing to do with the actors in it. I'm just like kind of, I guess I'm going through superhero fatigue and just I'm not so excited about the big blockbusters unless it's like something I really want to see, like Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, No Way Home. Everything else is just kind of like, is it connected to something? Is it not connected? What is the DCEU doing? Do I have to try to figure that out? So I'm just not really.
They don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought about the new Batman. It's like I couldn't decide whether I liked it or not. It's like the performances were good, but it's like I came out of the theater, I was like, I don't know if I liked it. It's like
I'm with you.
I loved it. Like I feel like that's the first time we got a true comic book Batman to film.
That's true.
Like,
that is true.
Bale was close.
Yeah.
And I mean, they pulled a lot from The Long Halloween, which I appreciate.
Right.
Oh man.
I mean, I get it. I get, because it's like a lot of people that I know who are Batman fanatics like didn't like it, but I think most people were expecting like a comic book movie. But this is more like a noir detective movie, like all the old Batman comics used to be. Like the detective comics were you didn't have a lot of superpowered villains. You just had smart gangsters and other people that were like unpowered, but they actually gave him problems. So it's like a lot of people are just like, where's Bane? And all this other stuff. But it's like, this is like the real Batman. Like you said, it's like, this is the cerebral Batman who's learning to be a detective and is trying to find his way. Because this is only 2-year-old This is only 2-year Batman. This is Batman year 2. It wasn't even really, he's not really the guy who's in all the other movies. He's still like getting his feet wet. So a lot of people are probably thrown by that too.
And it was completely different in the sense that this is the youngest Batman we've ever had to film. Like, even in the comic books, year one for him is when he's 30. He's not even 30 here. So he's super young, still trying to figure it out, and lots of room to grow.
I agree. Myron, since you came back in, why don't you tell us what was your favorite era of the of Falcons, and then we'll just get into the news.
I might be slightly younger than Michael there. I came in after that playoff year where we had Chris Miller, Dion. I think Brian Jordan was still playing safety. Him and Dion were doing both, baseball and football. So came in on that era. I have a lot of other eras that I like, but my favorite has to be the one that just ended, the Matt Ryan era. Went through that BS year we had with Bobby Petrino with his dumb ass.
I don't even want to talk about that. That almost pissed me off more than 28-3. Like that right there is like I was like,
so that but yeah, Matt came in, and I will admit that I wanted Glenn Dorsey. I was like, we finally got it right with quarterback before the end of that year. Chris Redman came in, he was doing decent enough. I was like, we can live with Chris Redman, get this defense right, and then we can pick up a quarterback later on. Like, I was even thinking of what's guy's name, Chad Henne or whatever.
Henne,
second round. I showed to think that I actually wanted him over Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan actually proved me right. I mean, proved me wrong. Once he hit that first touchdown pass, his first pass ever in the NFL went for a touchdown. I was like, I'm dude, you have won me over. I've been proven wrong. You my dude. So
you took the words right out.
We should talk about that. Like, what moment would Matt Ryan won us over?
Oh, we're gonna get into that. But let's get into the news. So like I said, there's been a lot of shaking and moving in the NFL, and it seems like one conference just got a huge power up, and some other conferences ain't so much. But there's a lot of big news going on. Deshaun Watson was supposed to come to Atlanta or to New Orleans, but somehow, surprise, he is a Brown now, and Baker Mayfield is
the most Falcon thing that could happen to the Falcons.
That's much. When it happened, I was like, that has to be the most Falcon-y thing to ever happen. You're exactly right.
I laughed my ass off for 2 hours after that, because you're right. That is like the very Falcon thing to do. But at that point, it's like, we done showed our ass for this boy. Yeah, Matt going one out. Matt going one out after this.
Yeah, we got. I was gonna say we got used, man. We got used for real. Because remember, as soon as the court in Texas decided they weren't going to indict him, all the teams just came out of nowhere. Oh, we want Deshaun. We want Deshaun. We can not go there, but just to quickly hit it, like, really, y'all gonna just jump head over heels for this dude, and he still got 22 civil cases left? Like, that ain't a good look. Somebody in that 22 ain't lying. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's the law of averages. It's like,
yes. So
I was just saying, like, when I first saw the news that we were entertaining the idea of getting Deshaun Watson, I was like,
why are we Michael Vicking ourselves again?
Right.
Again. Right. I was like, because it's like, we're just like, I'm like, okay, so Matt's gone. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like, I'm interested to see. In my opinion, I just think that Marcus Mariota is the most obvious Band-Aid that I've ever seen a team get before drafting a quarterback. It's like, he's not going to last. That we're getting either Willis or Pickett. We're going to draft him at a rate. That's 100% going to happen. It's like, that's the worst kept secret in the NFL right now.
I really hope not, because I'm just like, we got so many other holes to fill. Right. If we go
up and down each line, absolutely,
See, the lines. If we don't at 8, like, if we're going to stay at 8, then I would rather us either, it has to be Thibodeau or Willis. Those are the only two players I'd be accepting at 8. If not, trade back, collect more assets, because we got more holes to fill than Jada Fire. Like, we need bodies. We need talent. We need assets. Bad. This team is talent deficient. We won 7 games with nothing. Amadeus Zacchaeus was our number 1 receiver for most of these games.
Yeah.
Like, our strongest, like, Taquan Graham and Dante Fowler were our pass rushers. Like, Michael Walker, second year Michael Walker was one of our starting linebackers. We need help all across the board.
Also, you were talking about the most Falcons thing that we ever did was talk to Deshaun Watson. No, the most Falcon thing that we did was win 7 games and get a Midland pick, because that's what we do. That's literally what we do all the time. We're in position to get like a top 3, top 5 pick. And what do? We win the last 4 games of the season and we get a pick like in the middle of the first round. If we get a pick at all, if we haven't traded it away, that's the most Falcon thing that we ever do.
Or we saved Dan Quinn's job because he should have been fired the year before that. So we gotta play for Dan. We gotta play for Dan. We gotta rep for our coach, and then that happens.
Stone Cold Dan Quinn. Missed that.
Yes. Because you do look like
he is straight. Yeah. I mean, I think we all knew, even though it was a nice gimmick, we knew that the whole brotherhood thing, while it was nice the first 2 or 3 years, we knew that these grown men gonna be like, yeah, whatever, brotherhood, whatever. We
gotta get rid of these slogans.
If we didn't win, if we didn't win to back it up, it's like nobody gives a fuck about that. They're like,
I think the nail in the coffin for that. I think it worked, and everybody bought into that. It was just a year after the Super Bowl, that Philly loss. That was the straw that broke the camel's back with the brotherhood thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that, yeah.
Because we should have went back to the Super Bowl. We should have got our revenge against the Patriots. It was set up. The defense was more mature. We were better that way. The offense kind of tapered off a little bit, but still potent enough. But we didn't get the job done. I think the exact moment before the Julio 4th down call was right before half, where there was an interception that bounced off Keanu Neal's knee. And went for a first down on like 3rd and like 12. I want to say it was. But I think that was the moment.
If he would have caught that interception,
ball game.
Yeah. And dude, speaking of offense, you mentioned the offense before. Dan Quinn decides he wants to bring in Steve Sarkisian. Now I'm not knocking Steve. I'm not knocking Sark, because he did what he could do. He did a decent job, but he wasn't a Kyle Shanahan. And the thing is, we had somebody we should have replaced him with. The person who we replaced him, that we let go, I forget the guy's name, but isn't he the head coach of the Green Bay Packers now?
Matt LaFleur.
Yeah. But we wanted somebody with more experience to be the offensive coordinator, so we let him go to get somebody from college. Like, who knows what our offense would have been had we kept him? I mean, hindsight 2020, of course, but still.
Of course.
That's a lot of the case with the moves the Falcons made over the last 7 years or so. But get into some other news. There's been a lot of other moves in the NFL, like Tom Brady's back in Tampa. Big whoop. I kind of saw that coming a mile away.
That foolishness.
Right. He don't want to be with his wife and kids.
Yeah, he don't want to see their parts of that. He's like, he had 2 weeks of them kids bothering him, jumping all over him. He's like, you know what? I could be getting paid for people jumping on me. I'm going back to work. Y'all can hang out here.
I think it was something more nefarious, that maybe he got an inside notice of, hey, the division is about to get shaken up. There's all these moves and stuff going on. Ryan might not be in the division. You might want to come back, because who's going to be your competition in the NFC South?
Because didn't he come back right before or during
like a few days before all this stuff came down? It was last week. He was like, oh, I'm back. And like, big whoop. Okay, cool. Then Deshaun Watson stuff came up, which was already like, okay, well, if you trying to trade for Deshaun Watson, obviously Ryan's out. that's just a done deal right there. So it just seems kind of the timing of everything is kind of wonky. Like Russell Wilson is now in Denver, and famous James is back with the Saints again, and like this division is wide open for Tampa to just do whatever they want.
Oh yeah, I mean the Russell thing, the NFC really, but the Russell thing that's been in the works for the last couple of years because he hasn't been happy with lack of protection and lack of support. I mean, that defense is generations worse than what it was a few years ago. The Legion of Boom is long gone. Like, I mean, DK and Tyler, he finally got weapons out wide. Doesn't have much at tight end. Rashard Penny and Chris Carson, solid, but hurt a lot. And that offensive line doesn't protect him. And he's often put in some Dutch. So, yeah, this has been an ongoing thing for him for the last couple of years. He's finally free. He gets a good offensive line. He's got weapons around him, and he's got a top 10 defense supporting him. Like, they're a contender. Like, Denver's a contender.
All things we don't have.
Right.
All things that we don't have. Because we're starting from the baseboards. But Russell's going to be in a contender in a team where everybody seems to be a contender. Somebody's going to be upset by this time next year about not making the playoffs. And it's not going to be anybody's fault. It's because they're going to be over there beating each other up. The AFC might as well be the SEC now.
Right.
Especially the AFC West. AFC West is going to be a bloodbath.
Yes.
Like, that's going to, I don't think whoever comes out of that league is just going to be battered. Like, that's just going to be ridiculous. That's why a lot of people are probably going to end up picking Buffalo to finally get over the hump. But it's something about Buffalo. See, okay. For me, Buffalo, I always see the Buffalo teams from the 80s that lost to the Giants, that lost to the Cowboys, that just could not get it together. Like, and they had the whole world in their hand. Like, they had Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, James Lofton, Andre Reed,
Bruce Smith,
Cornelius Bennett, Bruce Smith.
Yeah,
there's no reason they shouldn't have got at least one chip. They should have had at minimum one. They should have had at least 2 or 3, maybe, because that team was built for success. And the fact that they couldn't get over the hump, just like sometimes that kind of carries over. I mean, look at Detroit. Like, Detroit hasn't even gotten past like one playoff win. Like, and it's like, and that shit kind of carries over. It's like they had Barry Sanders, they had Calvin Johnson, and it's like they wasted most of Matthew Stafford's career, and they still couldn't get over the hump. It's like that kind of. It's just like with us, with the whole like New England, like the 28-3 thing that I still can't talk about, and without getting like angry as shit.
Yeah,
it's like that stuff kind of carries on until you get over that hump. It's going to be with you, and you have to do something to like really hit it in the face and be like, "I'm over this. We're over this. We got to go. So we got to go finish it." So it's like that's kind of what I see. Like in the AFC, it's kind of jumbled up, and it's going to be interesting to see. I'll be so mad if Matt and Indy actually make it to the playoffs and make some noise. And if he gets to the Super Bowl, I can't even say it.
Honestly, I hope he wins it. I hope he goes back, and I hope I go see the Super Bowl. I hope he wins it. I think he deserves it. I think that he's been long since been disrespected, and not just by the fans here. And this has nothing to do with anybody outside the league. It has nothing to do with players in the league or fans of other teams. It's always been us that never embraced him the way that he should or acknowledged him for what he does.
That is true.
If he wants to go off and win the Super Bowl, then by all means, go, man.
Yeah, I want him to get that ring. Yeah, because
I want him to get that ring too. Go ahead, Mark. I'll cut you off.
Yeah, no, you good. You good. JB, to your point, I think, Mark. We said this yesterday. There's a whole lot of Falcons fans, so-called Falcons fans, who will never forgive Matt Ryan for not being Michael Vick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So many.
My God.
So many. Ugh.
I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill. Matt Ryan, best Falcon ever. I don't care. Come for me.
It's not even a discussion.
Yeah.
It's not a discussion.
And I say this as a Michael Vick fan, but Michael Vick is on record saying that he didn't study the playbook. He didn't work on his craft. He was going completely off of his physical talent and nothing else. Do y'all remember?
Dan Reeves Dan Reeves was the entirely wrong coach for Michael Vick.
Yeah.
He needed a coach that was going to stay on his ass and be like, yo, learn this shit. But Dan Reeves Dan Reeves couldn't control him. He was like, throw a play. He kind of reminds me of Al Pacino's character in Any Given Sunday, where he was just like, just go.
Yeah.
Michael Vick's own words: last to show up, first to leave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now go ahead.
Do y'all remember there was a 1 year in Madden, they introduced this whole like this field of vision thing, right? It's this vision cone thing, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else in the league, they field of vision was like this. Because you remember, because you couldn't throw to even if you hit the right button, you couldn't throw to a receiver if they weren't in your field of vision. Michael Vick's was like this. You literally had to go point it at. And I'm like, that if that wasn't the perfect like a perfect analogy for his actual like his actual accuracy, I'm like, come on, y'all.
Because they knew you're going to run. It's like, why am I giving you a field of vision if you're just going to take off with it?
Right.
Basically. I mean, love Vic to death. I'm very appreciative for everything he did for the city because he really lit the city on fire.
Facts.
But as a quarterback, lazy as hell.
Yeah, he didn't get us to back-to-back winning seasons like Matt Ryan did. He didn't get us to the playoffs multiple times like Matt Ryan did. He didn't get us to 2 NFC championships and 1 Super Bowl like Matt Ryan did. I don't want to hear nothing about Vic is better than Matt Ryan.
He was never a league MVP, and Matt was not only the league MVP, but he was runner-up twice.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
I will give Michael Vick this one credit for the time of the era that he came in.
Yeah.
And for what he did for the city of Atlanta, he put butts in the seats at the Dome every Sunday. And he 100%. Made, like how Michael mentioned that Deion Sanders in the 91 Falcons was the first time that people talked about the Falcons. Well, in the Vick era of the Falcons, you talked about Michael Vick and what he did on Sunday. Not about the Falcons, but just about Vick. And I'm not a big Vick fan. I'm not a bandwagoner. I feel like he did a lot more hurt to the team, like JB said. But I just give him credit for that. He put butts in the seat. He made the Falcons exciting to watch because he was exciting to watch.
Pastors cut out church early on Sundays to make sure you got home on time.
Yes.
Facts.
And that kind of I didn't see a lot of that during the Matt Ryan era. Maybe in 2016, but you didn't get a lot of we had more fans, but it was a team effort, which was a great thing. It was more about the team, not about just one particular person, because it's 53 people on that team, not just one. But let's just get into the history. So, before we get into that, we are obviously Falcons fans, and we like and love what Matt Ryan did. If you didn't get that last conversation obvious, I said we like Michael Vick. I said we like Matty Ice, and we just want to do a send-off, I guess. He's done a lot for Atlanta, and I just want to talk about him, give a little history of his career in Boston College, and when he joined the Falcons, like Myron mentioned, first touchdown week 1 against Detroit. Everybody was sold on him as our QB.
I was actually at that game.
Lucky you.
Nice.
Man, I tell you, I was in the nosebleeds too, because I was like waiting tables, and one of my customers was like, "Hey, I'm not going to this game. You want them?" Gave me 2 tickets, so I took my son with me, and we were in the nosebleeds. But it's like, as soon as he came out, you could feel like a difference. Like you could feel like his energy with it. So it's like we were standing there. As soon as he came on the field, I was like, "Watch, he's gonna throw for a touchdown." Sure enough, as soon as he faded back, I was like, "Oh shit!" And it's like he hit Michael Jenkins running on that cross, and he took the fuck off to the go. I was like, man, that place erupted. Like it was so fucking loud. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing to see. That's why I was like, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I think the thing for that is just also like the Frank Archer commentary.
Yeah.
He lives in Atlanta. Oh my god.
Yeah.
His first professional pass.
Right. I remember that. I was watching that on Fox, and I was like, Jesus, this guy is insane. We're gonna be good. We're definitely gonna be good.
Yeah.
I wasn't sold on him, and that wasn't the moment I was sold on him. I was like, okay, we might have ourselves a quarterback. But the moment I became sold on him was some weeks later against the Bears.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I had tore my ACL playing college ball that year.
Wow.
So I was on the couch every Sunday watching those Falcons games. So we were up on the Bears, and I was like bored. So I fell asleep during the game. Woke up fourth quarter, like Rasheed Davis touchdown. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Right.
So 32 seconds left. Post corner, I believe that was to Michael Jenkins, or was it Des White? And then a walk-off
or Roddy White.
Goal. It wasn't Roddy White that week that made that catch. It was Michael Jenkins or Des White. I want to say it was Michael Jenkins.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Made that one throw, call timeout, walk-off field goal. I'm like, oh, this is the guy. If I wasn't sure before, I'm sure now. This is the guy.
Yeah.
Never doubted him since. And then he repeated it the very next year against the Bears on Sunday Night Football. Same team, same thing.
I remember that. Oh man,
the good times,
bruh.
Man, good memories. So just a little backstory, where the Falcons got Matt Ryan from in the first place. Like we mentioned, we had a quarterback named Michael Vick, 2006.
Right.
He was supposed to be this phenomenal player. Then he went home during the offseason, did some crazy stuff or got blamed for some stuff, and got himself arrested in 2007. Right after we trade Matt Schaub. Yeah, we trade Matt Schaub to the Texans, and after that happened, Michael Vick get arrested. We had Bobby Petrino as the head coach, and we were entering week 1 of the 2007 season with a new head coach. Who was it starting? Was it Brian Leftwich?
Joy Harrington.
Yeah, then we had Byron Leftwich, and then closed it out with
DJ
Chris
Shockley
Redmond,
went down in the preseason, and then Chris Redmond finished the season.
Right.
I actually think we would have actually probably been all right if Shockley wouldn't have got hurt. I think Shockley would have done better than he would definitely done better than fucking Joy Harrington's bitch ass.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Joy Harrington was so bad.
Joey was sad as hell, and
he was bad in Detroit.
I think Byron Leftwich might have been sadder to watch because he had that arm, but that windup was so slow,
so long, and like
everything about him was slow. Like he couldn't run. He could move side to side. It's like everything about him was in slow motion. Like,
how are you a black quarterback that can't run?
Right. Wait, isn't he like the quarterback coach in Tampa now?
Yeah, he's an offensive coordinator there.
Yeah, he's gonna be a head coach next year. Wherever something opens up, he's facts.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Wow. Oh my God. But the horrible 2007 season started off terribly. We ended up going 4-12 that year.
Something like that, yeah.
Week 13, week 14, I can't remember what week it was. Head coach Bobby Petrino ensures the team that he's not leaving, and then leaves the fucking team and just leaves some fucking notes hanging on the locker like a bitch, and go be a college football head coach again. And
at Arkansas, of all places, he go to Alabama, Miami, Ohio State. He went to the fucking University of Arkansas. Yeah. I like how Lori Malloy handled it though. Lori Malloy got that note and just wrote it in bright red marker, coward, on the bottom of it where he's supposed to sign his name. Right. That's the one thing I remember. I was like, damn right.
Yeah, I remember.
I think the only player that missed him was Roddy White. I think so.
Why?
Because because when he came in, he told Roddy, "You're going to be the guy," and that was Roddy's first 1,000-yard season.
Wait, who else we had to throw to, though?
I do remember that. You're right.
We didn't really have no one else to throw to. It's like
that was it.
There?
But I mean, Roddy was that guy who was like his third year. He hadn't done much at that point.
Yeah, because he was dropping passes left and right before that.
Because Jim Moore, he pretty much cost Jim Moore Jr. his job.
Yeah,
like I still remember that one pass that Vic threw. He was wide the hell open. He went up and he dropped the ball, and Jim Moore would drop to his knees and was just like, "Really?"
Yeah,
and I think
Jim Moore cost Jim Moore his job when he was talking about Washington on the radio.
Yes, that was it.
That's what cost him his job.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he was just trash because he could have been so much better. Like, I mean, he was actually he wasn't that bad of a coach. It's just he's
very fiery. He took notes. He's a very meticulous guy. Pretty balanced. What you want in a head coach?
Okay, I don't think. Okay, kind of. I don't know. How can I say this? He comes off as crazy in some aspects.
He was certifiable. Yeah.
Yeah. He always reminds me. He reminds me of the
right
Wahlberg
kind of
brothers.
crazy.
Mark and Donnie Wahlberg.
Like as a player, and at the time you're looking at all these old white men grayed up and stuff around the NFL. You got this young guy closer to your age, more relatable to you. He's very fiery. He's very emotional. And on top of that, he's very diligent with his work. You want to play for that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so, like I said, Bob Petrino quit, left us with 3-4 games left in the season, and we had to look for a new head coach. And basically starting from scratch again, 2008 roll around, Arthur Blank hires Mike Smith because it's kind of a tongue twister there. But yeah, Arthur Blank hires Mike Smith. They go and draft Matt Ryan, third overall. And like I said, week 1, it was basically history. And that not only did we enter that season into the playoffs in the wild card round, but we also had a winning season and followed with another winning season, even though we missed the playoffs that year. But that was the start of the Matt Ryan era. He literally came in on a white horse and threw that immaculate touchdown reception. And then the week after that against Chicago had that amazing fourth quarter comeback. And he was selling people over in Atlanta. Black, white, Hispanic, doesn't matter. If you was in Atlanta, you was a Falcons fan. And with that came a lot of bandwagoners.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the city of Atlanta, though, when it comes to sports.
I mean, Atlanta's a bandwagon city. Everybody wanted to jump on and come down here and live. I'm like, look, we full. Y'all got to go back. Trying to see
exactly. I guarantee you, though, you go to a Pittsburgh game or a Dallas game here, you can't tell who's the home team.
Right. Oh,
that's I hated that. I hated that.
When the Braves were playing, it's like if you ever had a Mets game, it was all Mets fans. Like there were hardly any Braves fans in the stands. Like you could anytime like a New York team, Pennsylvania team, like the Phillies or especially the Phillies. Like any other team that had a really big fan base, like the Dodgers, like it would be more of their fans, especially at Turner Field. It's like they would like buy Turner Field out and just like there would be so many more fans. But it's because this is like a city where people come from everywhere to work. Yeah, because everything's cheaper here, and it's like it's a little bit easier to get around, and it's like everybody wants to come here and live. So it's like we get everybody coming here and bringing their own fandoms with them. They don't necessarily assimilate to being a Falcons fan or a Braves fan or anything like that. They just end up bringing their own teams. So like, screw it. I'm like, I don't like y'all. I'm just gonna stay. I'm gonna stay the fandom I was. So basically, I mean, that's the other thing.
It reminds me of like how it is in DC. If you ever been to DC and seen the Redskins games up there, like it's the same thing down here. It's mostly Dallas or Eagles fans or Ravens fans because of that metropolitan area. And like everybody goes to DC. It's a transplant city. So you don't get a lot of support from the home team, especially when they're losing. So it's not just Atlanta that goes through this, but I feel like it's especially bad here in Atlanta. And then when you have like, true fans like us who all ride or die, who try to speak up for these players, like we're speaking up for Matt Ryan, because like you said, there's a lot of Matt Ryan deniers still to this day. Like while writing this podcast episode, I'm on Facebook and I'm looking at the community, the Falcons Nations is so divisive. Like you got one half that was like, oh, I'm going to miss them and I'll cry and hate it if he get a Super Bowl in Indy, and the rest like it's about time. You were the root of all of our problems. And I'm like, but see, half the stuff that has happened to us in his era has not been his fault.
Ridiculous.
It comes down to one thing though. They don't know football.
They don't
know football at all.
If you think Matt Ryan, if you think Matt Ryan's a problem, you do not know football as well as you think you do, or at all.
Right.
If you think Matt Ryan is the problem.
Like, how are you going to blame him for what happened to Super Bowl? Like, he plays defense.
Matt Ryan does not play defense. That's what I will always tell people. That Super Bowl, first of all, Devontae Freeman.
He blew the hell out of that block.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like,
I
okay,
believe
first
that
of all,
was Tevin
we should have
Coleman's
run
play,
Devontae Freeman up the middle, kicked the field goal, and then taken that shit home. That shit still pisses me off. Like, why are we trying to throw the ball on third down and we're in field goal range? Why are we just getting in position, kicking the field goal, and getting out of here?
See, I don't have a problem with the play call because that would have been a touchdown pass. Taylor Gabriel had shook Devin McCourty out his draws down the seam. He was ready to go. If he makes that block, that's a touchdown.
Yeah, he's too busy worrying about that. Too busy worrying about that contract he was trying to negotiate. Like his agent, I think is Uncle Luke's wife or whoever was trying to angle for him a new contract right like in the weeks between the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. I'm like, why are we talking about this right now?
You got a game to play. 1,000-yard rusher. Pipe down.
Right. And where is he now? Where is he now?
Baltimore.
Yeah, he's like the second, third option in Baltimore.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, he was the number 2 guy in Baltimore this past year after basically sitting out last year.
But he was only number 2 by default because three of their other running backs got hurt.
Yeah. Like
speaking of which,
he was basically their 4th or 5th option.
Le'Veon,
He wasn't even on their team.
Speaking of being hurt,
all of them got hurt.
What's his name? Who was the other running back we had?
Tevin Coleman.
Tevin Coleman. He had the hot hand at the time, but he got hurt. So Devontae Freeman was in at the time. Tevin Coleman was the one who's supposed to have been in at that time.
I believe so.
But then he missed that block. If he even chips that guy, that's a touchdown. Instead,
if he even lays a shoulder, just shrug him. Just knock him off a little bit. Jeez.
But instead we got a strip sack, which was questionable. I didn't feel like that should have been a sack. I mean that should have been a fumble. That should have been an incomplete pass.
Like that was Dante Hightower. Dante Hightower's like 6'5", and Devontae's like 5'8".
He made a business decision.
Still, I've seen Maurice Jones shoot. I still remember the Hines Ward taking out Keith Rivers like he was nothing, and Hines Ward is all of like 5'11", and Keith Rivers was big as hell, and when he played for the Bengals, and
he was like 6'2".
Yeah, it's like Hines Ward came blindsided him and ended his career with a block on a sweep play. It's like there's no excuse. There's no excuse. You make a business decision. You're in the freaking Super Bowl. You make a business decision during the season. You don't make a business decision during the Super Bowl.
Right.
Screw all that. I'll live forever if I can take on that block and get hurt and break my leg and Matt Ryan throws a touchdown pass. I'll take that.
Yeah,
cool.
Hines Ward was different though. He was a monster. Ward came with cruel intentions.
Yes,
every
play. He was just built different, bro.
He was, man. Whew.
Can you say he had some dog in him?
Man, he had a pound. He had the whole kennel in him. He was a whole dog. He was like all business. I love that dude.
He had the whole kennel, all the cues, everything.
Yeah. Every last one.
Champ Bailey, Boss Bailey, Terrell Davis too.
Man, listen.
So let me ask each of y'all, just give me one or two. What are your favorite Matt Ryan moments outside of week 1, 2008 season, since we already talked about that? Favorite Matt Ryan moments in his 14-year career with the Falcons.
All right. First up, I've already mentioned the Bears game, so the Bears comes back. But prior to the Super Bowl run, we played Green Bay, I want to say it was like week 16. And that touchdown pass to Mohamed Sanu was 12 seconds left. That's one for sure. And another one I have is, there's so many with that guy.
It is so many.
I could easily mention that whole playoff run, but I want to say one that sticks out to me, like even now, out of all 14 years. That pass he dropped in the bucket to Cordell Patterson last year to beat the Saints in the Superdome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was just such a Matt Ryan pass. That was just such a chef's kiss of a moment.
Yeah.
We needed it. He brought it, and then we won off of it. And that was just who he was for us. Like, always there for us when we needed it, right on time.
Indeed. Yeah. I was
go ahead.
Sorry. This would be my background if my laptop was behaving. But I purposely went and found that picture of, there was this in 2012, we played the Panthers at home, and we won on a walk-off field goal because Matt Ryan hit a pass to Roddy White. And I was there for that game. That was my first year having season tickets. I was a season ticket holder for 4 years. My first year was 2012. So we hit a game-winning field goal, and the camera catches my and this is for everybody who thinks that Matt Ryan is too nice, that he's not fiery, that he ain't got no
I know what
emotion.
you're talking about.
Caught him saying, right? So they caught him saying that coming off the sideline. So it was funny as hell. But and this is why, even before his domestic violence thing, this is why I can't stand Greg Hardy, because nobody knew Matt Ryan said that, and nobody would have known had the camera not happened to have zoomed in on his face while he's coming out the field. He says this on the sideline. He's not saying it to any Panthers player directly. He's saying it on the sideline. Get the fuck off our field. So Greg Hardy catches wind of it. So when the Panthers beat us later that year, I was at that game too, because me and my friends did a road trip on there. So Greg Hardy is walking through Falcons players. Get the fuck off our field, man. Get off our field, man. Deuces, baby. Get off our field, man. I'm like, you petty as hell, dude. Like,
whatever,
wow.
dog.
Nobody, he would not have known that Matt Ryan said that had that camera not zoomed in on him at the right time. I'm pretty sure worse things have been said directly to players on the field during the game.
Oh yeah.
So he gonna latch onto that one thing and hold on to it. But then Matt Bryant, yeah, right, exactly. So that's even the opposite of icing on the cake for me. I'm like, I ain't like you before, and now you do that, yeah, F you. So Matt Bryant had to come back right to him. Matt Bryant all of like what 5'8", 5'9", and he's talking to Greg Hardy. He's like 6'3", 200, 290 something maybe. He's like, oh yeah, watch this in January. And I would say my other one, I was trying to find it earlier today. There's a game where we played the Tennessee Titans, and Matt Ryan was mic'd up. So there's he's changing the play at the line of scrimmage. He's saying whatever his signal is to change the play. And one of the linebackers, the lineman for the Titans said, I know what that means. Matt Ryan said, you can't fucking stop it. Sure enough, that play worked.
Like, that reminds me of that Tampa Bay, what happened in Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football in 2017. He was yelling at
Get
Julio.
He was yelling at Julio.
Was it Sanu? Was it Julio? Was it Sanu?
No, it was Julio.
Yep. That shows as bad as Julio was, Matt Ryan was like,
get fucking set.
Right.
Like, people, the biggest mistake. I'm sorry, Michael. I'm gonna let you have your moment in a second.
No, you're good, man.
Just people think that he was this mousy, quiet guy, and that was never him.
No, that was not him.
He just knew how to he just knew how to do it during the press conferences. When he was public facing.
Like, he got his high school, his college scholarship from high school because Boston College was there scouting somebody else, and they saw him snapping on his coordinators in high school. That's how he got recruited. And if you saw the Virginia Tech comeback, the game that essentially made him famous, bro was snapping whole time. Like, Matt Ryan is a fiery guy.
They think they know. They have no idea.
Right.
Zero idea.
Right.
Like, he's a fiery guy. He's a gym rat. He was the first one in and the last one out. Like, after the Super Bowl loss, he watched the film 3 times before the plane touched back down in Atlanta. Like, he is the prototype for what you want in a franchise quarterback, for what you want in a leader, for somebody you want your troops to rally behind. He's always been this guy. And that's just going to be super hard to replicate. It's going to be super hard to replace because he just does it on such a professional level that I don't think most guys coming up can really replicate.
You know what? I take back my answer from earlier. My second favorite team until Matt Ryan retires is the Colts because I want that ring for him.
Okay.
I mean,
until he retires.
I mean, I'm just saying though, like low key for the shoe, for the shoe.
Yeah.
But don't tell nobody I said that. But, Michael, you go ahead with your moments, your two favorite moments.
All right. I gotta be real. Since I was there, I can't get past watching him throw his first touchdown. That was like that throw was just out of this world. I can go back to when we beat Seattle, because when we beat Seattle to go play the 49ers, like that game was actually on my birthday. Like they played on my birthday, and I was like at Taco Mac, like watching the game, and it's like right as soon as Seattle went up, I was like, shit. So I was like, but then it's like when they focused on Matt, you can look at him, and he was like, I got this. And it's like he drove him down, Matt, Matt kicked the field goal, and that was it. I was like, all right, that's my dude. But yeah, that one and us whipping the life out of Green Bay.
Oh my God, you took my two answers. You took my two answers, but this is good. Go ahead.
Yeah, because my son is a Packers fan, and we were watching the game together, and he was like, "Oh, y'all gonna get whipped. Everybody's gonna whip." And I was like, "All right, go ahead, yeah, keep talking." And it's like soon as he hit Julio for that one where he broke both of those tackles and streamed down the sidelines, my son just was like, we were at a bar, and he had put his head on the bar and was just like, I don't believe this. I was like, you okay? You all right? He was just silent the rest of the game. But yeah, I mean, Matt showed out that game. He showed the fuck out. I love both of those.
So like I said, you took both of my answers. That first Seattle Seahawks playoff win and the Green Bay NFC Championship game. Like I wish I could have went to that game. It was the last game in the dome. And like just even watching the game on TV, you can feel the vibrations of that building shaking and seeing it like about to collapse as everybody's celebrating that win, and just like how confident and smooth everybody was. Ryan was calm, cool, collected, just throwing touchdown after touchdown. Oh my God, that was such a crazy game.
Right.
That was, we're gonna get into this in a minute, or like just Falcon triumph things, but like that was definitely like one of my top 10 Falcons moments of all time, not only Matt Ryan moments. And since you took my other one, I have to think of another one. You know what? I'm gonna say this, and this is more of a, I hate to say this, more of a Julio Jones highlight, but you know, obviously Ryan was throwing to Julio. But when Julio got his first 300-yard game, I like that.
Oh yeah.
I know that's more of a Julio type of moment, but obviously Ryan was throwing to Julio. And you know, it was great for both of their stats. But speaking of stats, JB, why don't you
that was Carolina, right?
Oh, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry.
No. The first one was against Green Bay. The second one was against Carolina.
Okay. That Carolina game was, man.
Who saw that coming?
Nah, nobody saw that.
Man.
Nah.
He ate.
Bruh.
Julio ate that game.
For real.
Nom.
But I earlier today I was watching some NFL news, and they brought up an interesting statistic, like Matt Ryan since the Super Bowl 2016 era, his stats, and how he's tied with Brady for like touchdowns per season, and he's what the league's most complete passer. Like he's thrown for like over 6,000 yards, if not more, almost every season. No, not 6,000 yards, but he's thrown for a lot of yards. He's the leader.
I know what you're talking about.
His stats are insane at the day of him trading, and all we get is a third round pick and a dead cap hit of $40 million.
I mean, it makes sense though. It makes perfect sense. I mean, he's gonna be 37 when the season starts. I mean, age definitely matters to it because you have to wonder, how for other teams, if you're trading for him, how much you got left in the tank? How much are you getting left of Matt Ryan?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, look at it, even after the Super Bowl era, look at his stats. He's declined in some of his stats, but he's still leading a lot of other stats. And then, look at Tom Brady.
But you also have to take into account there, you can put a question mark on what he did. Yeah, it's not his fault, but he still did it. You getting a quarterback that has been sacked 45 times, 40 plus times over the last 3 years. He didn't throw 4,000 yards last year. You have your question mark.
But who he had to throw to? Who did he have to throw to last year?
Also, post what happened with Deshaun, you have to acquiesce to what he wants because you showed your ass against him.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
You also have to
give him what he wants.
You also have
and
to
on top of that, you're working against the deadline. You know where he wants to go. Indy's not budging. They could give him a second, but why should they? They have 2/3. Why should you bargain for the higher one?
Yeah,
you have to acquiesce to this man. You have to give him what he wants.
Yeah, I was just gonna say similar thing because, if you look at what LA gave up to get Matt Stafford from the Lions, the Lions were not. The Lions did not need to get rid of Matt Stafford. So just think about when you if you sell your house and you had to, if it was a fire sale, you had to sell your house. You're not going to get the value back for it because you have to sell it. So anytime you have to, so the Falcons, they had a 4:00 deadline yesterday. So they didn't have the luxury of waiting around for a better deal. And the teams knew we had to get rid of them. Same thing if we would have actually done that dumbass move and actually got Deshaun Watson, we would have only got the 3rd round pick for Matt Ryan. I would have wanted a 1st, a 2nd, but in hindsight, we would have only got the 3rd because people would know that we're not going to hold on to two good quarterbacks even without the cap hits. But two, the fact that you don't want to hold on to that salary for both of them. So we would have only gotten a 3rd round pick for him either way. It sucks because that's not really his value. I do think he's worth the 1st round pick, but because of the circumstance, we weren't gonna get that for him.
Right.
I think here's the stat. Since 2011, he's averaged except for last year, he's had at least 4,000 yards and 20 touchdowns.
Right.
Since 2011.
But people don't want to see it because one, he's on the Falcons, and two, ever since 2016, nobody can see past 28-3.
The thing is, but by the time he finishes his career, he's going to have 60,000 yards passing, and he's going to be pushing 400 touchdowns.
Hall of Fame. I don't care what nobody got to say. Hall of Fame.
He's. Even if he doesn't make it on first or second try, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. If Dan Marino's a Hall of Fame quarterback,
yes,
then Matt Ryan's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
And Matt's been
agreed.
Matt is 8th in passing yards all time right now. He could realistically be 5 by the end of this season.
Right. Definitely.
Realistically. If anything, he could be 7th in touchdown passes by the end of the year.
Yeah.
He'll
get it.
There's nothing. What are we debating about? What is there a question
about?
There's
no debate.
No, not
because we were a bunch of Falcons fans that actually got some sense.
Yeah, right. Yeah. When I said that, I don't mean amongst us, but just in general, when people talk about him, it's what are we talking about?
Right.
He's the guy. He's been
the guy. Been the guy. Since been the guy.
So is it easy to say that obviously Ryan going to better pastures is good for him? We all want him to succeed because we like him so much. I'm kind of like Myron. I'm secretly going to root for his success, but anytime he goes up against the Falcons, you know what it is.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But do you think there's a likelihood that because what's his contract in Indy now? 2-year deal, 30 something guaranteed?
22 this year, 24 next year.
Okay. There's a possibility that he could definitely make it to the playoffs because that division outside of Tennessee, that division is not even competition. He could possibly get in with Indy to the wild card and sneak his way into the playoffs because he's been there and done that and get a ring with Indy. And it would be so ironic because I don't know if y'all remember, but at the beginning of his career, he was compared to Peyton Manning in his young career. Yeah. So the fact that he's at Indy, I'm like, oh, that's
because he couldn't get over that playoff game, win the playoff game.
Right.
Yeah. It was like year 6 or 7 for Peyton.
Yeah.
Before he finally won one.
Yeah.
Also, it's like he's getting ready to pass Dan Marino in less time than it took Dan Marino to get his yards. Like Dan Marino was a quarterback for 16 years. Next year is going to be Matt Ryan's 13th year, and he's going to pass him this year. He only needs less than 2,000 yards to pass him, so he's going to pass Dan Marino. And people, I don't know. I really don't get it. I like Dan Marino. He was a good quarterback, but it's like he never won a Super Bowl. He had talent around him. Why? If you're going to give him that credit, and plus he's going to get really close to Phillip Rivers and Big Ben by the time his career is done.
Right.
And Big Ben's 5th right now. So if he gets close to pushing the top 5 of all time passing yards, and it's like, what are you going to argue against him for? There's no argument. And he has an MVP. It's like, what's the argument?
Right.
There's
the only
goalpost.
Right.
That's all they do.
Yeah, you're gonna have people who are gonna be like, "How are you gonna compare to Dan Marino?" I'm like, you're holding on to Dan Marino just because that's that legendary name, and you can't fathom anybody else, being better than him. But I'm just like, no, he's done the same in less time, and neither of them have a Super Bowl ring. Matt Ryan can still get one. So, yeah, I mean, if Dan Marino can get in the Hall of Fame, Matt Ryan damn well better be in there.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. So it's clear to say Indy got the better end of the stick in this trade.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not gonna say
Indy robbed them. I don't understand how Jim Irsay did that. I mean, Jim Irsay is notorious for not doing the right thing, and somehow he did the right thing on this one.
Yeah.
I think in this case, everybody's a winner. I think that for Indy, they win in the short term. Matt Ryan also wins in the short term because he gets to be where he wants to be. And I think for Atlanta, you had to rip the Band-Aid off. You had to make it up. You had to get away from that contract. Because realistically, we were never going to be a winner again with Matt Ryan as he gets older, with our cap issues and with the money is the way it is. It was time.
Yeah, you would have loved to have had it happen with another quarterback in place, so that new quarterback can learn behind him for a year, maybe 2.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up. Why not draft the quarterback last year? We could have got Justin Fields, who was available when we went at 6, right? And had a year to develop under Ryan, whatever we did last year, and then trade off Ryan, and still would have been the same thing. I think that would have been a better bet. But like you said, hindsight is 2020.
Yeah, from what I hear, there were rumors that Trey Lance was their guy, but because he got drafted before them, they was like, okay, he was our guy, so let's just go with the next best available player versus getting the next best quarterback.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Now that we're a year into Trey Lance's career, do you think we dodged the bullet there?
It's too early to tell.
It's too early to tell. I mean, what did you have, 2 starts last year?
I don't
really. I think he might have 1 or 2. I don't think he really started that much, but it's way too early to tell him.
Right.
I think he's going to be good.
I think if we go off the right.
I think as of now, he's 21 now.
Yeah.
So he's still crazy young.
And got a long way to go. Cool.
And if we only gonna go off of last year, then the Patriots won because Mac Jones is played better than anybody. But but look at who he has around him though.
Right.
Because if Mac Jones was starting for the Falcons, we won't be talking about him right now because he didn't
Mac Jones was if he was starting for the Jets instead of the guy that the Jets drafted, we'd be talking about Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson would have gone to the Patriots, we'd be talking about him being the next coming.
Right.
Because he had better coaching, he had better weapons, and he had a better situation. It's because the Jets, thank God, are a worse dumpster fire than we are. So it's like
yeah.
So it's Zach Wilson is in a non-winnable situation. So it's what are you gonna do? He's probably a pretty damn good quarterback, but it's you're not going to do anything. It's just like with Matt Ryan throughout his career. he's a great quarterback, but his line, he's never had. He's probably had a top-notch line once or twice.
Yeah,
maybe.
And
Like his
never
line
had
has
an
always
elite
had
defense.
either one hole or another. Either like we missing a guard, you were missing a right tackle, or our left tackle is a fucking revolving door, or our center can't call out shit. It's like there's always at least one problem with our
that
line
2015
that is
season
really fucked up.
How many games did we lose because the center couldn't snap the daggone ball?
Man,
Exactly.
Oh God, yeah,
man,
And we lost some ill-timed fumbles.
Hell yeah, absolutely. It's like there's always been a problem with our line, and it's like if he gets behind, and Indy's line is fucking solid. It's like it'll be interesting to see like if he. But the thing with Indy is like they're going to be running a lot with Jonathan Taylor, and I don't blame him because Jonathan Taylor's a fucking beast. So
monster.
I'd run too. But it's like I'm willing to see. I'm interested to see if Matt has that 1 or 2 more seconds that he didn't have here, and he could see what he can do.
Man, he got Quentin Nelson in front of him. You crazy? That man gonna drop back and not win to be like, do I have time?
You know, yeah.
He's like, why? He's gonna be like, why is it so quiet?
Yeah, Matt's gonna make some mistakes because he's gonna be like you guys said, wait, I got time. So he's gonna do something stupid simply because he's so used to having to run for his life, he doesn't have to.
Right.
So it's gonna take him a few games to get used to all that time and safety.
Right.
I'm not on the ground. What? Where are my roughing the passer penalties? I'm not getting those this year anymore. Hey y'all, I gotta cut out. It's been great chatting about the Falcons with y'all. I'm glad to have been able to talk with people, like I said, that actually got some sense and got get heads on their shoulders. I appreciate that. It's been great, y'all. But I gotta roll out.
All right,
man. Nice to meet you, man.
Peace.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping up anyway. I want to end because I think this was so funny how we started the podcast. The most Falconist-y thing ever in y'all's opinion. This whole trade thing with Deshaun Watson and getting rid of Ryan and 28-3. Our beloved Falcons, for its 50-plus long year history, 56, I think, it's full of fuck ups. I don't even know how else to say it. Just like no other team can do these things better than Atlanta. What's something, Michael, that comes to your mind for the most Falconisty things ever?
Ever?
Yeah, ever.
There's so many. I mean, for real, like the one scene I see Deion, when Deion was with the most Falcons thing ever is Deion Sanders like literally manhandling Andre Rison. And like even when he threw him to the ground and when he got the interception and ran it back and looked at us like, this is still my house. That's one of the most Falcons things I've ever seen. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Just go on. I mean, because it's like, there's so many things, but yeah, that really sticks in my mind because he came back here and just showed out. And it's just like, it's just us. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and from what I remember, he continued to do that regardless of what team he was with. Every time he played Atlanta in Atlanta, he would just do his best to show out.
He would wreck shop. Like it'd be ugly. Yeah. But yeah, just like that one in particular, it was just bad. It was bad. Like, oh Lord.
What about you, JB?
That's one mine.
The most Falconist thing ever. Like I said, so many of them. I think like the biggest thing right now I could think of is just blowing leads. Like it started off with the 28-3 thing as a joke, but we have been blowing leads before. But ever since the Super Bowl, I think we've blown at least, I had the number. I want to say it was like we've blown 13 games on the last possession or overtime. And since 28-3.
Oh my God! I want to change it. I want to change to that Dan Quinn's last year. We're getting ready to beat the Cowboys, and they do that stupid fucking onside kick, and nobody falls on it. All we had to do was fall on the damn ball. All we do is watch it go to 10 yards and watch Dallas pick it up. I'm like, fall on the ball. That's all we had. That's that's definitely one of the most Falcons things I've ever seen.
I'll do you one better. It starts with that loss to Dallas with the onside kick and continued the next week where we repeated the same cycle and up in that by half, and then we just blow a lead, which led to the next week's loss after that, which culminated with when we played Detroit in 2020. That was a pretty Falcons-y season in my book.
Yeah, the whole first half of that season was just god awful.
It was just kind of like, can this man go, please?
Yeah.
Can Dan Quinn go?
I think at that point, after the Dallas game, he pretty much wanted to go. Like, he didn't really care. He was like, I'm going to get fired anyway. So, y'all just do what y'all want.
I'm surprised he wasn't fired at the end of that Dallas game, to be honest.
I am too. I would have fired him. That's bullshit.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. Fired him or the special teams coach. One of the two.
They both got fired for that one. The special team coach for just not doing your job, and Dan Quinn because you should have got fired a year ago.
Right. That's one of the longest hot seats I've ever seen in my life. Like, he was on the hot seat for like 3 years. And
they just kept getting break after break. So you mentioned this. We mentioned this earlier. The AFC West looks like it's going to be the powerhouse division. Let's just talk about the NFC South for a brief minute.
Okay.
Where do the Falcons go from here, and what's the future of this division?
We're fourth. We're fourth. We're firmly at fourth. All right, so we signed Lorenzo Carter, who had 4 sacks in the last 5 games last year to close out his time in New York after he was a first-round pick up there. Like I said, 4 sacks in the last 5 games. He had 14 and a half his entire time up. So, maybe, but maybe not. Mm-hmm. Also, we lose Foye Aluakon. We lost Matt Ryan. We lost Russell Gage. We're not getting Calvin Ridley back.
Oh, that reminds me. That's probably the most Falcons-y thing ever. I'm going to go on a mental health break for the season after the season start, and I'm going to sickly do some gamble. I got suspended. I guess I'm not coming back to the Falcons. And then nope, that takes the cake. That has to be the most Falcons-y thing ever. That's not 28-3.
It would have been even worse if he would have bet on us to lose. That would have been the most Falcons-y thing ever.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it's more Falcons-y that he bet on us to win, and we did win. I think that's the most Falcons-y thing. Because he only betted $1,500 and lost $11 million. So I think that's the most Falcons-y thing.
I mean, that's just it's just stupid. That's a stupid person.
Is it all agreed? All right. So if Atlanta's fourth in the division, preferably for the next year or two, it goes to say that this is Tampa Bay's division.
Oh yeah, but it's from the second Tom said he was coming back.
Yeah, I mean, it's their division by default because look at everyone else's quarterback.
True. True.
Jameis, Sam Darnold, Marcus Mariota, and Tom Brady. Out of those 4, you looking at you like, okay, so whatever.
Basically,
I'm not even expecting us to break 5 wins this year. I can't see it.
5 wins. You're so optimistic because I was thinking maybe 1 or 2. And it'd be pity games
from Carolina.
We're going from Carolina,
this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the exact same thing we did last year. We're gonna win 2 games right up until there are only 4 games to go. Then we're gonna win all 4 of those games, and we're gonna end up picking 12th. That's exactly what the fuck we're gonna do. That's that right there, my friends, is the Atlanta thing to do.
Because
that right there, especially when we need to pick first and get a quarterback. And get the best quarterback that we can get. We need to pick first, second, or third next year. We're gonna win the last 4 games of the year and move all the way down to the middle of the fucking round.
I think that we get Malik Willis in the draft. I think we do, and
I'm not mad at that.
For a year. I think he sits for a year, and we give him the reins next year. He might see some time this year, but I think that's what the case is going to be.
After what he did at his pro day, I can see it. That one throw he did on the run that went like 60 yards or some shit and was a dime. Yeah, I can see it. I can see us drafting him easy.
My thing is, does Carolina take him at 6?
Carolina probably wants Pickett more than Because Matt Rule's been talking to Pickett like they're dating. So I think they're going. Yeah. I think they're probably going to get Pickett.
Yeah, I mean that's the hope.
But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's between the two of them for both of us. It's like
right.
We got to figure it.
I don't like Pickett like that. Not for us. I don't like him for us.
Not for us. No. I mean,
I like Willis.
I would because only because he has small hands and he would play half his games in the dome. I would like Pickett because I don't trust him in the rain. Even though he's played in the rain, he's been fine. I don't trust him in the rain with gloves on. Because you see what happens to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater has small hands and he plays with gloves, and it's like the same thing. It's like he's at best the game manager, but he's not the guy that's going to go out and win the game for you. So
I am always against 24-year-old rookies.
Well, he's 24. Oh hell no. Yeah, he can. Yeah, it's going to be Brandon Wheaton all over again. Oh god. Yeah. Pass. Wow. Hard pass.
So Malik Willis is 22. He'll be 23 before the season starts. I mean, that's a year difference, but still. Just like the sheer athleticism, that he shows is like I'm with that. I can work with that. There's only 3 quarterbacks I would love for us to draft over the next couple of years. It's Malik Willis this year, next year Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, or the year after that Caleb Williams. That's it.
Oh God, Stroud! I would love to have Stroud.
Stroud's his whole skill set is amazing.
He's a monster. Yeah. I would love to have Stroud.
But I think
I just can't. I'm gonna continue to be generous and say we win 5 games, 4 or 5 games.
I think you're being a little too generous. I think you're being a little too generous. Because
if we let's just say we first round, ideally, we get Willis at 8. We can get 2 receivers in the second round, and the third round we could do whatever. But
this is a receiver thick round. This is a receiver thick round. It's a receiver thick. We can get good receiver in the third.
And if you're feeling fancy, you can package those 2s and go up and get somebody. Go get you a Drake London. Go get a Traylon Burke. Because they'll be there. And Traylon Burke or George Pickens or Drake London matched up with Kyle Pitts. Those are 2 6'3" type monsters just running around out there. You want to jump for that? You want to hang with that? Be my guest. And I really like Drake London. Like if we would have kept Matt Ryan, I would have loved to have had Drake London here. 20 years old, 6'4", 6'5". I think he ran 4.5, but that's okay. Can jump out the gym. And before he broke his ankle in the season, he won 90% of his jump balls.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
As a 20-year-old.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is
crazy. Give me more of that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just go ahead and wrap up the podcast. Anybody have any closing remarks about Matt Ryan, his career, hopes for the future, hopes for the Falcons?
Man, best of luck to him. I'm gonna miss that guy. That's still my quarterback. I'm gonna be rooting for him silently in Indy. I really hope that he does win one before he retires. I really hope. I'm gonna miss seeing him around. I'm gonna miss the ice cubes.
Yeah.
I think Sarah Ryan even is the best sports wife in the NFL. I'm going to miss seeing all of them around, and I really hope he's the best. As far as we're concerned, like I said, we're back to the baseboards. It's going to be a rough couple of years for us, but long term, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. Again, I'm dreading going back to my Facebook feed because everybody's like, "Bye, Matt Ryan. Bye. We're better off without you." I'm like, no. But the thing about it is, I'm glad he's gone, so he doesn't have to deal with these motherfuckers anymore.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to keep hearing people like Michael Vick was better. Wish we had Vick. I don't want to hear it. Like he ain't got to worry about that no more. I'm glad he doesn't. And like you, I hope he shows out like Stafford did with LA. I hope he does. Yeah, I really hope that he has a good season. And if he gets to the Super Bowl, hey, I'll root for him. I mean, because I know it's not going to be against us. So
right. It's definitely not going to be.
But yeah, he's definitely, and as far as quarterback, he's definitely not even an argument the best quarterback in franchise history. The best quarterback in Atlanta's franchise history, 100%. There's no argument. It stops there. It starts with him and stops with him. And it's period. And it's like, as much as I've seen, because I'm 51, so it's like I've been able to watch Steve Bartkowski play, Chris Chandler play, Chris Miller play, Jeff George, and it's like we've had some quarterbacks where you just kind of scratch your head like, why? Like, I could play quarterback better than that. And it's like, I still remember watching Jeff George and June Jones yelling at each other on the damn sidelines, like in the middle of a fucking game. And I'm like, these clowns are just ridiculous. But yeah, there's no question that Matt Ryan is the best quarterback we've ever had in this franchise. And I wish nothing but the best for him. And I look forward to hearing his Hall of Fame speech, because he fucking deserves to be there. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. He deserves it.
I agree.
He's going to be there.
I agree. Just a side question for you, Michael. Do you ever go back and think about what if we kept Brett Favre instead of training the Green Bay?
When he started blowing up, I was like, that's fucking Jerry Glanville. Like, that son of a bitch. Because I was like, yeah, I think about it, because it's like, of course, it's like, he's a gunslinger, and of all people to understand that how much of a gunslinger that Brett Favre was, Jerry fucking Glanville should have understood that he's a fucking gunslinger, because Jerry Glanville's a fucking outlaw. He was a fucking outlaw. How do you not see another outlaw and recognize that shit? He should have been like, okay, fine. Yeah, you're okay. I'll just sit you down. I mean, it's like, fucking A, dude. Like, fucking Chris Miller. Yeah, I did. When he won the Super Bowl, I was like, that could have been us.
Right.
That 100% could have been us. Yeah, I did. I wondered for a little while, but then after he showed that he was kind of a douchebag, I was like, yeah, fuck him. Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. For like about 5 years, I was crying. I was like, this is bullshit.
I agree. I would have too if I was old enough to remember it at the time.
Yeah, because that's when we first had the black jerseys, and it's like the R4 black jersey. I was like, every time I see it, like in like when they do like remembering him and stuff, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, every time I see him, I try to offer as much money for it as I can, because I have to have that for some reason.
He looked good in that black jersey. That's why I was saying, I was like, he's a fucking outlaw. Like, they should have done that, and the black helmets, him in all black.
Yeah,
bruh, he would have been a fucking outlaw. Everybody would have hated him except for us.
Yeah, I agree. He would have fit perfectly.
Yeah, he would have.
But go ahead and just tell the internet where they can find you. JB, where can everybody find you on the internet these days?
All right, you can find me on the interwebs at JB versus the World on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find me on Twitter on JBV the World, because versus was just too long for Twitter. And you can find me on my central hub at jbversustheworld.com.
All right, what about you, Michael?
You can find me along with my cohorts, Anthony, Hanako, Casey, and Lori, on the Phantom Hybrid podcast at phantomhybrid.com. All your major streaming platforms. You can find me on TikTok. I just hit 10K followers. You can find me at MC1371. You can find me at Twitter at MC113. I'm not really on Twitter that much, so don't follow me on Twitter. Follow me on TikTok. I'm better there.
Okay, cool. And again, this has been Blerdography. You can follow me at this has been Blerdkast. I'm sorry, it's like on my shirt, and I just been looking. But you can follow me at Blerdkast on YouTube. See, there I go, messing up again. Follow me at Blerdkast on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And you can hit me up on my social media at Blerdography on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And soon I'll be on Reddit. And don't forget to go to my YouTube channel, Blerdography, and watch this video. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see y'all next time.
Stay black, y'all.
Stay black.
And rise up. Rise the fuck up.
Rise the entire fuck up.